just too easy to go buy a bag of potatoes. Yeah, it only costs a couple dollars. So,
Hello and welcome to, Carlin's Worlds. Yeah, that should work. I'm a wanderer, a tinkerer, sometimes a nomad, a military veteran. I do things differently. There will be tinkering. I have a motorcycle, a truck, and a school bus. I live off-grid, so there will be some solar, batteries, inverters, and maybe even some wind. It blows. And that's all I can fit into about 30 seconds. Oh, and please, if you like any of this, it would be really awesome if you could subscribe and click that notify bell. Drop a comment if you have any questions or ideas. Share, like, comment, subscribe, notify. Oh, and Patreon if you're really an awesome kind of person. Cool. On with the show already.
I saw a video, and this is something that had not even crossed my radar because I'm not a big farmer, grow your own food kind of person, really. It's just too easy to go buy a bag of potatoes. Yeah, it only costs a couple dollars. So, growing up as a kid, we had a big farm, and my mom would set up little gardens everywhere. It seemed like every year she'd put it in the corner of a different field for some reason instead of having it at the same place. But, which was nice because after a while we had strawberries growing in every field. So if you're driving the tractor, you could jump off, walk over, grab a handful of strawberries, and then go back to plowing the field. It was great. The strawberries, once you get them going, they just keep going. You can't kill them practically. So, anyway, I was more interested in geothermal heating, not so much tapping into a geyser, which would be, freaking amazing, but the dirt at the surface in the summer is close to ambient temperature, never quite as hot as the air because the air heats up very quickly. It takes a little longer to heat up the dirt. But if you go down about 8 or 10 feet, the ground temperature stabilizes, and this varies a little bit based on your latitude, north or south. Longitude goes up and down, latitude goes up horizontally, round and round. Arctic Circle is latitude. If I got that backwards, you get the idea. So depending on how far north you are of the equator or how far south you are of the North Pole or vice versa, or South Poles, whatever, it'll change a little bit, and then you get local conditions like here we're at 4,000 feet, so that'll change things a little bit. But if the guy on this video I saw on YouTube, he lives in, I think, Nebraska. Don't quote me on that, but I think it was Nebraska. If I think of it, I'll try to link it onto here. But, you can Google it. He's growing oranges in the winter where there's snow outside. And, like Nebraska. Okay. Well, how is that possible? What would that take, right? So what he's done, and this is not a new idea, I've seen this before, I just didn't really put all the pieces together, and it didn't really seem like something I was really interested in at first. So he took a big black plastic pipe, big, probably what you'd use for a sewer drain field or something like that. I don't know. It's the kind of a corrugated looking plastic, so it's got the ribs in it, right? So it doesn't get crushed. And he buried that at 8 feet deep. And he went out, 50 feet, and then across 50 feet, and then back 50 feet. So 150 foot long pipe. And he did multiple zones of these things going through the ground. And then once they were buried, or once they were dug down, he put the pipes in there and then buried them. And then he's got in the greenhouse a large fan that I can't remember if it blows or if it sucks. It probably blows. I think that's better. So from one point it blows out, and then it forces the air through the pipes, and then it just comes back in again. And you just set it up with a loop. Well, the air coming back in is at the temperature of the ground, so about 50, 55 degrees. Well, if it's below freezing, and you can get a good supply of air coming in that's 55 degrees, a lot of stuff will grow at 55 degrees. All right. Plus you've got the sun shining in the greenhouse, warming everything up. Okay. And then in the summer, that same pipe is still 55 degrees. So if you're trying to cool things down, you just turn on the fan and you blow all your warm air. Well, you can let the warmest of the air go out the top and just let it escape, because greenhouses always have that fan on the end that can just blow air out. But you can also run the fan and pull in or push through the pipe and come back in, and you bring in air that's at 55 degrees. Now, the reason the pipe is so long is you need a lot of surface area to cool down the air. And you could probably experiment with a bunch of little pipes for more surface area, or one big pipe, which is easier. You know, how many zones, how many feet. You know, that could be a great experimentation project. Call the government, they'll fund you. Dubai is talking to him. And he's like, oh, this was funny. This was completely irrelevant, but he's like in his 80s now. He's been retired for 20 years. He was, I forget what he said exactly, but he used to work for the post office. I'm like, my ears perked up. Oh, a postal guy, right? So he started this. He had been retired for a few years, then he built the first one on his property. And he didn't plan on doing it for a greenhouse. He was using it for heating his house, right? And you can heat and cool your house for nothing but the cost of running the fan to push the air. That's where I got excited about this in the first place. I'd seen this once, 5 or 10 years ago when I was living up in Canada. And there's people that are doing it because if it's 40 below outside, which is, you know, what it does up there, and if you can pull air in that's 55 degrees, man, if you can get your house up to 55 and it's 40 below outside, 55 you can survive pretty nicely. 65 is really comfortable. All right. So you can wear a sweater and then have a couple little spot heaters instead of heating your whole house, because if you can get your house up to 55, your pipes don't freeze, you know, your cat doesn't try to escape, you know. Just got quiet. Well, that's the end of that. But check this out. You can see the level of the water or not. It's getting kind of dark. Oh, here we go. Let's do this. I'll brighten it up a little bit. So the water's right to there. So we're at almost full. And this one is obviously equalized, which is awesome. I'm very happy. Probably now the air's cooling down, so now they can come out again. Watch and see how far they're going. I have not had problems with the ants, you know, getting in my food or anything here at all. I think they're bringing rocks out, so they're making a bigger nest. Part of their design, from what I've been watching, they always make this circle first, right? And then they'll push the rocks further out. I don't get a big mound here. Well, maybe it just doesn't show up because it just blends in with the rest of the sand, right? But I have seen these little circles everywhere. Well, it seems like they don't build it up really high, but it may be that the wind just blows away whatever they bring out, so they aren't really building a big giant mound as much as they're digging a hole to get down. Same thing, actually. If you can get a few inches or feet below the surface, it's probably a lot more comfortable for them.
Well, that's about it. Thank you so much for watching. Yeah, that should work. Cool. I do things differently. Oh, and please, if you like any of this, it would be really awesome if you could subscribe and click that notify bell. Drop a comment if you have any questions or ideas. Share, like, comment, subscribe, notify. Oh, and Patreon if you're really an awesome kind of person. Thank you so much for watching.